what is intelligence really? It is a question that philosophers, scientists, and thinkers have asked for centuries. We know deep down that it is not as simple as an IQ score written on a piece of paper. Even the late, great Stephen Hawking, a man we can all agree was a beacon of brilliance, denounced the obsession with standard testing scores. Intelligence is far too vast, far too multidimensional, and far too beautiful to be trapped in a simple number. It means different things to different people. For some, it is mathematical prowess. For others, it is linguistic ability or spatial awareness. But no matter what definition you might adhere to, there is one thing we can generally agree on. You simply know intelligence when you see it. A highly intelligent person is often someone who is gifted at analyzing concepts. They are the builders of understanding. They take the scattered bricks of information that the world provides and build a fortress of logic, connection, and insight. They see how everything is connected, like a great web of cause and effect, understanding why things are the way they are. These people often go on to become trailblazers, leaders, and innovators. But my friends, there is a shadow side to this light. If you have ever felt out of place, misunderstood, or burdened by your own mind, you might be one of them. Today, we are going to gently walk through 8 struggles that only highly intelligent people will truly understand. If you recognize yourself in these words, know that you are safe here and you are understood. The first struggle is one that hits home for so many of you. You get bored with small talk. Have you ever been at a party, or perhaps standing in the break room at work, and someone starts talking about the weather, or the local sports game, or perhaps their neighbor's new lawn ornament? You smile, you nod, but inside, you feel a physical sense of draining energy. It feels exhausting. This is because, as the famous quote suggests, great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people. For the highly intelligent person, the mundane details of daily life, the who said what, and the did you see that are not just uninteresting, they are painful. Your mind is a race car engine built for high speeds and complex tracks, but small talk forces you to sit in traffic. You crave the deep end of the pool. You want to discuss the origins of the universe, the nuances of art history, the ethical implications of artificial intelligence, or the abstract concepts that govern our reality. You think in ways of the deep, the abstract, and the thought-provoking. So, when you are forced to paddle in the shallow waters of polite conversation about the rain or the latest celebrity gossip, it feels like a waste of the precious time you have on this earth. It is not that you are arrogant. It is simply that your soul is hungry for substance, and small talk is merely an appetizer that never leads to a meal. The second struggle flows directly from the first. You are incredibly careful with your words. I want you to ask yourself, Do people around you often describe you as reserved, quiet, or perhaps overly serious? This is a common label placed on the intelligent. But the truth is, many smart people simply tend to think much more than they speak. Your mind is like a grand library, filled with reference books, encyclopedias, and data. When someone asks you a question or brings up a topic, you are not just reacting, you are cross-referencing. If you choose to share something, it is highly likely that you have already considered it from every single possible angle. You have checked your facts, you have analyzed the counterarguments, and you have built a structure of rationale and logic to back up your conclusion. However, this process takes time. It creates those long, pregnant pauses in conversation where you are silent, constructing the perfect thought. To the outside world, this silence can look like aloofness. It can give the impression that you are cold, distant, or overly serious. But in reality, you are just trying to be accurate. You treat words with respect, knowing their power, and you refuse to use them carelessly. You would rather say nothing at all than say something that is poorly thought out or incorrect. This leads us gently into the third struggle. You are often socially awkward. Now, I know we have all seen the movies. We know the trope of the awkward nerd, the scientist who cannot make eye contact, or the genius who says the wrong thing at the worst possible time. It is a cliché, yes, and the media often exaggerates it for comedic effect. But like many clichés, it is rooted in a grain of truth. Research, including a study from 2015 by Davidson, has suggested that people who possess a high IQ often tend to have a lower EQ, or emotional intelligence quotient. Your EQ is what helps you navigate the subtle dance of social interaction. It is what helps you read a room, understand sarcasm instantly, and form easy, breezy relationships. Life, unfortunately, is often about trade-offs. If your brain is wired to analyze data and logic with laser precision, it might be slightly less tuned into the fuzzy, illogical frequency of human emotion. You might find yourself staring blankly while you process a joke, or offering a solution when someone just wanted a hug. You might realize, 5 minutes too late, that your factual correction of a friend's story was perceived as rude rather than helpful. It can feel isolating, feeling like everyone else was given a manual for social interaction that you somehow missed. The fourth struggle is a deeply painful one. You struggle to make good friends. Finding your tribe, your people, can feel like searching for a needle in a haystack. The sad reality is that some people are genuinely intimidated by intelligence. There is a perception that someone can be too smart for friendship. People might feel that they cannot relate to you, or worse, they might feel inadequate in your presence. Nobody likes to feel not smart enough. It is a vulnerable, uncomfortable feeling. So, rather than facing that feeling, many people's response is to simply not befriend the smart person. They might distance themselves, keeping the relationship at a surface level. But the highly intelligent person is still a human being. You have a heart that beats for connection. You get lonely. If you relate to this, you may have found yourself thinking, if it is my intelligence that drives people away, should I hide it? Should I dumb myself down just to be accepted? My dear friend, that is a heartbreaking question. Ideally, you want to be drawn to people in the same intelligence sphere as you. They may be rare, like diamonds in the rough, but they are out there. You deserve friends who celebrate your mind, not ones who are threatened by it. Fifth on our list is a lifestyle struggle. You often do not get out much. If you are highly intelligent, you likely struggle in social situations for all the reasons we have just discussed. You find small talk draining, and you find making true connections difficult. So, what is the natural result? You retreat. You retreat into the safety of your work, your studies, or your passions. It can be so easy to focus heavily on academics or your career, throwing yourself into work, and more work. Why? Because work makes sense. Logic makes sense. A textbook or a spreadsheet will never misunderstand your tone or judge you for being too deep. But even if you truly enjoy your academic pursuits, a severe imbalance between work and social integration is dangerous. It eventually leads to burnout, unhappiness, and paradoxically, low self-esteem. You might find yourself on a Friday night, surrounded by books or glowing screens, feeling a pang of sadness as you imagine the rest of the world laughing and connecting. It is a protective mechanism, yes, but it can become a prison if you are not careful. The sixth struggle is something I see so often in my coaching practice. You are overly analytical. Have you ever heard the phrase, paralysis by analysis? This is the curse of the overthinker. It happens when you are crippled by the need to always know the correct answer, or even the most correct answer, before you make a move. Because your mind is capable of seeing every angle, every pro, and every con, you become flooded with data. Imagine trying to order dinner at a restaurant. A simple choice, right? But for you, you are weighing the nutritional value, the price, the reviews you read last week, the ethical sourcing of the ingredients, and the likelihood of liking the dish based on past experiences. By the time you have processed all of this, everyone else has already ordered. You struggle with indecisiveness, not because you do not know what is going on, but because you know too much. You do the same thing before you make life decisions. There is so much input flooding your brain that it clogs your output. You become stuck, frozen in thought, unable to take a step because you are terrified that it might be the slightly less than perfect step. Number 7 is that your mind constantly craves exercise. Being a highly intelligent person means you have a brain that is like a high-energy working dog. It needs a job. It needs to run. It needs stimulation. In short, your mind has the munchies for information. You always want to be doing something that engages your cognitive skills, dips you into a new discovery, or lets you stretch those thinking muscles. This sounds like a good thing, but it means that simple, everyday tasks feel like torture. Once a problem is solved, it is dead to you. Routine tasks, repetitive chores, or jobs that do not require critical thinking feel like a drag. They feel heavy. Pretty soon, so many things in life feel been there, done that. The search for the next novelty, the next challenge, the next puzzle becomes arduous. You might jump from hobby to hobby, or career to career, leaving a trail of unfinished projects behind you, not because you are lazy, but because you figured them out and immediately lost interest. It is a constant, restless hunger that is very hard to satisfy in a world that often rewards routine and consistency. Finally, the eighth struggle, and perhaps the heaviest one to carry. You are always feeling pressured to succeed. To paraphrase a famous movie line, with great intelligence comes great expectation. If you are a highly intelligent person, you have felt this weight on your shoulders since you were a child. This pressure comes from everywhere. It comes from parents who praised your grades, from teachers who singled you out, and from society that looks at you and sees potential. But the heaviest pressure often comes from within yourself. Every time a friend casually says, "So, another 4.0 GPA this semester, right?" Or drinks are on you for being employee of the month again, surely, a little part of your mind tightens. It nudges you, whispering, "This is your place. You need to be here. Always. You cannot slip." So what do? You end up pushing yourself to the breaking point. You constantly feel the need to prove your intelligence, over and over again. This leads to exacerbated perfectionist tendencies. You develop an unhealthy, disproportionate fear of failure. For others, a mistake is just a mistake. For you, a mistake feels like a dismantling of your identity. If you are not the smart one, then who are you? It is a terrifying question that keeps you running on a treadmill of achievement, terrified that if you stop, you will disappear. I want to pause here and just ask, do you relate to any of the struggles I have mentioned in this video? If you do, I want you to know that I see you. Please let us know in the comments below. Sharing your story is a way of releasing that pressure. We get it. There is a certain satisfaction, a little bit of victory, in knowing things that others do not. It feels good to be capable. However, there are always many sides to a thing, and being smart is not always a piece of cake. It is not always a blessing. Sometimes it is a heavy backpack that you cannot take off. Others might try to define you solely by your intelligence. They see you simply as a brain, a resource, or an IQ score. They forget the human beneath the logic. Still more, many people may never get past that surface level, so they never try to truly get to know you. They might even villainize you out of jealousy, assuming your life is easy because things come quickly to your mind. This can leave you feeling profoundly lonely and disconnected, watching the world through a glass wall. But here is the truth, my sweet friends. There is nothing wrong with you for being who you are. Your mind is a gift, even when it feels like a curse. In the end, others do not validate or create who you are. Only you do. You are allowed to be smart, and you are also allowed to be silly. You are allowed to be a genius, and you are allowed to make mistakes. You are allowed to know the answers, and you are allowed to say, "I do not know, and I need a hug." We would absolutely love to hear your intelligent, thought-provoking, and deeply human comments below. Please like and share this with someone who might need to hear it. We will see you in the next video. Until then, keep shining your light. Now, let us take a moment to reflect on what we can do with this understanding. If you have identified with these 8 struggles, it is not a sentence to a lifetime of unhappiness. It is a roadmap. It is a diagnostic tool to help you understand why you feel the way you do. If you struggle with small talk, give yourself permission to gently steer conversations toward topics that light you up. You do not have to suffer through 40 minutes of weather talk. Ask a deeper question. Ask someone what they are passionate about. You might be surprised to find that others are starving for depth, too. They are just waiting for permission to dive in. If you are careful with your words, honor that. Do not let the world rush you. Your silence is not empty. It is full of intention. Let people know, "I am thinking about what you said." That simple phrase can bridge the gap and prevent them from thinking you are ignoring them. Your thoughtfulness is a virtue, not a vice. If you feel socially awkward, remember that social skills are just that, skills. They can be learned, practiced, and improved, just like any other subject you have mastered. You can study human connection with the same rigor you study your academic interests. But also, forgive yourself. You do not have to be the life of the party to be worthy of love. If you struggle to make friends, keep looking. Do not settle for relationships that force you to shrink. Join clubs, forums, or groups where your interests are the main focus. Whether it is a chess club, a book club, or a scientific forum, go where the other active minds are. You will find your people. If you isolate yourself, make a conscious schedule for connection. Treat social time with the same importance as your work meetings. Your brain needs rest, and your heart needs laughter. Balance is the key to longevity. If you suffer from paralysis by analysis, practice making small, inconsequential decisions quickly. Pick the first thing on the menu. Wear the first shirt you touch. Train your brain that the world will not end if you do not optimize every single micro-choice. Save your processing power for the big decisions that truly matter. If your mind craves exercise, feed it, but also teach it to rest. Meditation can be incredibly powerful for the busy mind. Learning to sit with boredom is a skill in itself. It is the space where creativity is born. And finally, if you feel the pressure to succeed, please be kind to yourself. Your worth is not your output. Your worth is not your grades, your salary, or your accolades. You are worthy simply because you exist. You are enough, just as you are, breathing and being. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is an honor to walk this path of self-discovery with you. Remember to nurture that beautiful mind of yours, but do not forget to nurture your heart as well. I am sending you so much love and positive energy. Take care of yourselves. I will see you very soon. Goodbye for now.